Hi, my name's Matt. I'm a professional creativity coach from Canada, and the first thing I want to do is thank the 407 people who have viewed my last video, minus myself, 406 I guess, and a couple people who commented below. I really appreciate the kind words, thank you. On the last video I made, I had mentioned that I was going to update my website and have some audio courses and some ebooks that you could download. I was hoping to get that done last year. Certain opportunities came up in my life, and I decided to make the conscious decision to prioritize other things. So hopefully now I'll have a little bit of time here. I'm putting up another video. Hopefully I'll have a chance to update my website, so keep checking it out. It's www.wildimaginations.ca. I appreciate all the visits to that website. You know, I don't want to take my last video down, even though I did make that claim. I do believe in being honest with my creative work, which is also why I allowed the one mistake, if you might have noticed, that I pointed up when I should have pointed sideways. But here, I have a picture here. This is what it should look like, the chart you make, the box you make from the last video. Anyways, I think that's pretty straightforward to everybody, but I just wanted to clarify that. You know, it's a funny thing, writer's block, because what I think is happening is it's just us arguing with our brains, going against what our brains want to do, which this tip that I have in this video, this will help you out with that tremendously. The tip I'm going to give you in this video on using your first impulse should wipe out that writer's block, and you won't need me anymore. Which is actually why another reason why it took me a while to put this video up, because I was unsure if I should give away this tip, give away this secret, because well, not so much of a secret, just a tip, pragmatic tip that I think you can use to get over writer's block and should really help you tremendously. So writer's block, once again, I'll reiterate that I'm not just talking about writing, I'm talking about creativity block in general, being blocked creatively. Because writers, visual artists, musicians, actors, designers, engineers, everybody gets blocked, right? And everybody's trying to be creative, and that's what I'm trying to help you to do today. So I've been researching the creative process and ways to get over writer's block for a very long time now. One very, very common piece of advice that comes up from people is to simply take a walk. Just get away from it, take a walk, take a break, just relax for a bit. This reminds me of a book that I read called Right Brain, Right On by Bill Downey. It's a book about how to get into your right brain thinking, and he tells a great story about a man who was trying to write something at his computer, couldn't get anything on paper, couldn't think of anything, decided to go out and mow his lawn. While he was mowing his lawn, he started to daydream, and boom, he had a great idea. He had to run inside. 3 hours later, his family came home and said, "Hey, why is a lawnmower running out on the lawn?" And he had completely forgotten and just totally gotten into his right brain thinking. So yes, sometimes taking a break and walking away can be a very efficient tool. However, what I found when I was struggling with writer's block years ago was that I took too many walks. I walked a lot. I would often walk away from my project, and what I really like to do would be to daydream about it and just think about it as much as I could and try and plan everything out in my head. The problem with that is that as much planning as you do in your head, it doesn't get out there. It doesn't come out. So that's what today is all about. That's what my tip today is all about, is to try and teach you how to get your ideas out. Instead of just taking a walk and walking away from it, let's stick with it and let's sit down and let's try to generate some ideas that are physically in front of us. I say it's a funny thing, and what's funny is that people, when they have writer's block, are often trying to sculpt something out of thin air. What do you think would be easier? Let me ask you this. Making a sculpture out of clay or making a sculpture out of the air? So let's say you're a musician and you're sitting in front of your keyboard, or you got your guitar in your hand and you got a sheet of paper out in front of you where you're going to write down all your notes, and you just can't get anything down. You know what you want it to sound like, you just can't get it down. Hopefully you've done my objectives exercise from the last video, which will help get you started understanding what exactly it is you want to accomplish with this project. But let's say you've done that, and you just can't get any ideas out. I know this happens to a lot of people who aren't musicians, who are sitting at their computer. They have like a letter to write, let's say, and you just got to get this letter out, but you can't think of the first sentence or the first word. You don't know what to do. I'm sure many of us have found ourselves in this position. In my opinion, the best way to get out of this situation where you just can't come up with any ideas, you just don't know what to write, you just don't know how to create this, is to do it badly. To really make a conscious effort to try and do it badly. Don't do something good, do something bad. Do something really, really not good. And then that's when you'll have your clay. That's when you'll have what you can mold out of. It's so much easier to look at something in front of you that you've created and criticize it and learn how to change it and figure out and create from that base, from that benchmark, versus creating out of nothing and just sitting there and thinking, ugh, I don't know what to put down. I don't know what to put down. Well, put anything down. It's right. Think of it as writing it the way a child would do it, or purposely try and do it badly. And once you have something out in front of you, something that you've just played and put something down in front of you, then you can look at it and start to mold. So in order to do it badly, we're going to use our first impulse. Wait a second. Before I go on and explain exactly what I'm talking about when I say first impulse, I feel as though I should give some background about myself. My creative outlet is in the theater, personally. I'm a theater artist. I've been acting, I've been directing, I've done technical design, I've done some playwriting, I've produced some plays. I've worked in all areas of theater, and I've been working in the theater for, I'm coming up on my 18th season now. So this year, 18 years, my theater career is going to turn legal drinking age in Alberta. There's a concept in improvised theater. It's using your first impulse. Now, this idea isn't mine. I'll give credit where credit is due. Keith Johnstone writes about this in his book, Impro. I've also learned about this from a lady, Kathleen Foreman, who I took a class with at the University of Calgary. She was with Keith Johnstone when he started up the Loose Moose Theater here. So, using your first impulse is simply using the ideas that pop into your head immediately. Whatever idea pops into your head first, you say it out loud, you use it. So if I give you an invisible box and I were to say, what's in that box? A lot of people will take the box and they'll look at it and they'll go, it's a treasure full of gold and jewels and lots of magic. And you look at them and you say, wait a second, that wasn't your first idea. What was your first idea? What was your first impulse? And often they'll say, well, my first idea was pretty stupid. No, your first idea wasn't stupid. You look at that box, you take that box, you say, it's a set of keys to my new car, it's a pencil, it's an eraser, it's a book, it's a frying pan. Well, you can take that frying pan and you can hit the prison guard over the head with the frying pan that you were supposed to use to eat your last meal with. You know, whatever it is, it doesn't matter what's inside that box. You got to use what comes into your head first, and you got to trust it. Now, there's a lady with a series of books out, Julia Cameron, who she writes a lot about helping people trust their impulses, trust their ideas, allow more quantity of work to come out rather than worrying about the quality. That's kind of the next step. We're not going to get really into that. I'm going to take this video onto two parts. Okay, so the second part, we're going to learn more about this idea of first impulse and how to use your first impulse and tools that you can use to develop your first impulse and make it what you want it to be. Because if you're sitting there at the page and you don't know what to write, chances are your head has some ideas anyway. Even if you don't think you know what to write, your head has the ideas, so just let them out. So I'm going to take this on to part number 2, video number 2, so please watch part number 2. Thank you. Join me for part number 2 of this video, which can be found right here on YouTube, and we'll learn exactly how to use our first impulse. And don't forget to use this break to visit my website. It's www.wildimaginations.ca. It's a radish, or whatever. Radish is stupid.